All right. A very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the program. Jeff DeForest. We got Mike Lubie Lubitz, young Luca Panici Lubitz, and now I got dogs barking in here. So it's always
At the whole zoo.
seven podcasts, man. It's loose. It's good. It's real life. I mean, we're not in some studio that has been sterilized. Not that it was ever sterile, right? There was more disease being spread in those radio studios.
100%.
Remember the mung that used to be on the mic covers? And you're thinking, did somebody throw up in here while they were on the air? I mean, what the hell happened? You try to clean it. You used to spray with a little Lysol, and then everybody got crazy with COVID. And thank goodness they started sending people home. And that was the greatest thing that ever happened. And here we are doing this stuff from home. So there's a few noises in the background that normally wouldn't pop up in what you would consider to be a professional broadcast, but it happens. And very happy, actually, that Skippy's barking at all, because a couple of weeks ago, I
Sounds
wouldn't
good. I'm telling you right now, Mike.
give
You
you
should.
2 cents for his chances. I love this dog. I mean, he's one of the great misfits, misunderstood animals of all time. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on, Lubie. How would you like to be Kwesi Adolfo Mensa?
I'd like to
Kwesi
hear the name,
Adolfo
actually.
Mensa. Are you familiar with this cat?
The name sounds familiar, actually, but go for it.
Recently canned as the Minnesota Vikings general manager.
Yeah, the GM. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
There may have been some underlying controversy surrounding this guy. I'm not sure what to make of that in perusing a variety of stories. I was just trying to figure out if this guy showed up at the Super Bowl site, and then I thought I had seen on a crawl that he had been canned by the
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings. This was a guy, and it wasn't necessarily that fateful, as it would be, decision to let Sam Darnold walk and keep J.J. McCarthy and anoint him as your starting quarterback, and then go into the season without any kind of veteran backup. Now, prohibitive, probably what? Could they have kept both, Luby, Sam Darnold, and J.J. McCarthy on the roster? McCarthy is under a rookie deal.
Yeah, I would have. Yes. Well, okay. Look, Darnold. This time they got him at a actually cheap rate for the
Yes.
1 year. He got a real deal from the Seahawks. So I don't know if you could have given him that deal, and because McCarthy was a top 15 pick, so I don't know how the money worked, but I would have tried.
McCarthy ended up getting hurt. He showed some signs of life later in the season when he came back, and you thought, well, maybe this wasn't such an egregious error. But after having a lousy draft, not having too many picks on top of that, and spending $300 million in free agency, the Vikings bombed out, laid an egg. And here's Sam Darnold on the cusp of possibly winning a national championship or a Super Bowl championship. Guess you could count it as a national championship. Where else do they play football like this? Nowhere.
Yeah, we never call it that, but it is. It is our nation's championship. It's true.
Sorry, national championship. And sure enough, I'm thinking I haven't seen anything to convince me yet that I want to go off my selection of the Seattle Seahawks to win the game. And I'm even becoming more and more inclined, and this is probably a good reason to go run right now. In fact, if you have your finger on the button of whatever phone app you're betting with, you might want to send it in right now, Moneyline Patriots.
Because you're gonna go even more into the Seahawks.
I don't know. Do they win this game by a touchdown or more, Luby? What do you think? Now, the key would be there has to be some kind of bounce back by Drake May, who, and both of these quarterbacks, I believe, are impossible not to like. A lot of people take shots at Josh Allen, but when you see him in interviews, it's impossible not to like Josh Allen. Unless he's just a complete phony, which I don't sense. You see enough of a guy and you start to believe, yes, this really is who he is. He's representing himself in a truthful fashion. Drake May, just a delightful guy, humble, says all the right things. And Sam Darnold, I liked Sam Darnold now. It's funny how some people are remembered, Luby, for one thing that they said. Right. When you look at John Henry, the owner of the Boston Red Sox, who has gone on to achieve great things as a sports owner, built a monumental sports empire on top of his commodities business, which he clearly was very successful at to come up with zillions of dollars. But remember, all anybody recounts about Henry's tenure here was when he said, well, if I have to build a stadium with my own money, it's going to be a small one. Didn't matter that he ended up becoming a tremendous achiever as a sports owner. That's all anybody remembers about him here. There are other Fuzzy Zeller, right? I always remember Fuzzy, one of the great quipsters of all time. He probably said a zillion funny things, but the one time that he stepped across the political correctness line and started talking about whatever them people eat, That was a little Aunt Jemima-esque, was it not? I mean, Fuzzy. And it's one of those things, too, Lubie, and we've talked about this many times, the whole Fuzzy Zeller thing with the Tiger Woods incident, about what he had at the Masters dinner. And Fuzzy was skewered for this. And probably, spent the last 20 years of his life. He just checked out this year, right? Fuzzy Zeller? That was
Yes.
this past year, anyway. This
Yeah,
year's
last year.
away. I can't believe we're already into the second month of 2026, Lubie. Where the F is the time going? But that's all anybody remembered about Fuzzy Zeller. He was a great guy. And when you're one of these people that says a million funny things, just trying to entertain people and give people a laugh and make people feel like you're sending out a good vibe, there's going to be a time, especially in the age of political correctness, where everything is read too deeply into, or a lot of things are, where, and clearly this probably wasn't the best thing that he could have said. But nonetheless, I mean, for him to be only remembered for that.
Or the ghost thing, is that like that?
Oh, and that's Sam Darnold. That's where I'm going with this. I mean, he said he was seeing ghosts after he got swamped by the Patriots when he was with the Jets, losing,
Midi.
I believe 33-0 was the final score in that game. And that's what people remember. I mean, big article in the New York Post today about the redemption of Sam Darnold and how much this is going to mean if he wins the Super Bowl and what it means in terms of Jets history. Obviously, at the time that he was let go by the New York Jets, you were probably thinking, yeah, it is time to let this guy go, that it just wasn't working out. And so they made yet another mistake with a very high draft pick. They, I think, traded up to get into that spot to get Sam Darnold out of USC.
Mhm.
I thought in that particular class that he had flashed the most potential of any of the quarterbacks who are coming out. He gets to the Jets, and look, almost every quarterback that's drafted highly is usually, with rare exception, going to a really bad team. So, and that's true in all sports. That's why you just brought this up about, and it's a great question, Lubie. How on earth, we saw the game, but how did Duke, with Cooper Flagg and this Con Kneppel, not win the championship last year in NCAA basketball? And then
Yeah,
you
it's
watch these two guys tearing it up in the NBA, and you're thinking, I know, we love the coach there, but geez, and that's a radical change from the perceptions. I was not necessarily. I rooted against Duke. I root for them to lose every game, like I do with a couple of teams. In basketball, I root against Duke in every game. I don't know about you, Libby. How do you feel about that?
And when I
Duke.
was younger, it was weird. When I was growing up, I was young. They were already pretty good, so I didn't have any hatred. So
Yeah.
I had an appreciation for Coach K, 'cause I always grew up wanting to be a coach, and he was
Yes.
always the consummate coach, and you never heard him caught up in anything. As I've gotten older, and I realize a lot of there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. They've
Yes.
got, and then JJ Redick did it for me. I hated JJ Redick. Like, I actually liked Duke until JJ Redick, and JJ Redick, and then from that point on, they had a long line of.
Was
And
it
I
great
get it, they had it
talent?
before. They had it
Yeah.
before too. I mean, Leitner was a piece of work, but like your Grayson Allen,
Grayson Allen was a complete asshole as a
there was
college
a
basketball player,
lot.
and literally deserved to be decked by any number of guys. Cheap shot artists are the one. I mean, if you had to ask me, what is your sporting pet peeve? Bad officiating, possible fixed games. Carmine Abatello, who just checked out, stiffing those 3 to 5 shots. But cheap shot artists are the absolute worst. So if you play sports and you've been victimized by a cheap shot artist, and maybe you even survived the incident, and you try to shake it off, and then the guy just keeps doing it, the same thing over and over again. I guess what Dylan Brooks is that guy in the NBA?
Oh yeah, oh for sure. Nowadays,
Leads
yeah.
the league in technical fouls, probably flagrant, probably virtually every other ugly category. And you have that guy. I don't know. Was Rodman that guy?
I was gonna say Rodman for sure was that guy for a long time. I mean, so
But Allen didn't deserve to. I mean, Rodman was in there banging with the big heavyweights. I mean, he's in there trying to out rebound Shaq, boxing out guys that are monsters. Tree Rollins, these kind of guys. But did they play in the same era? I want to say yes to that. Maybe Rodman came around the same time. But I mean, animals in the post, and he's having to go and trade elbows with him and do all this stuff. So if he's inclined to take a cheap shot here and there, all right, it's not good, but it's a little bit more condonable. And yet Grayson Allen had no. I mean, he would just go and trip a guy from a blind side. Guys turning around and run up the court, and he'd just stick his foot out. I mean, he was a complete asshole.
Yep.
All led and contributed to me not being a big fan of Duke basketball and
Yes.
rooting for them to lose every game. Now, you know they're going to be good pretty much every year. But yeah, how did they not win the championship last year? We saw the game. I mean, they fell apart.
Yes,
To
they
what?
had
Kelvin
a chance.
Sampson?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, wasn't it Houston like
Yeah,
flag
Houston.
in the last 40 something seconds? Flag made every stupid mistake you could, and
Unbelievable.
this even missed a free throw. It was bad. But and I remember Knipple doing anything in that game. So that's to me, it's like what they're doing on the NBA stage as rookies in the first half of the season is really impressive.
Yeah. Both with lousy teams. The Hornets have now won 7 in a row. And
Yep.
all of a sudden, aren't the laughing stock that they've been? LaMelo Ball turned out to be the best of the balls.
Oh,
As
yeah.
Lonzo Ball clearly had his. I don't know that he was as good as LaMelo would have been as a pro if he hadn't been injured and compromised by injuries, but certainly that has limited whatever distinction he could carry as the best of the balls. Whatever happened? Was it LeVar? What was the father's name?
LeVar. Good for
LeVar,
you.
right? LeVar Ball.
Yes.
All right. Whatever happened to him, man?
They
He
don't
doesn't talk
matter.
anymore.
Yeah, well, but we
He
all
was
say
in every show. You could not get away from LeVar Ball.
no. He talked a lot of crap, and he had three kids that looked like they were going to play in the NBA. The Leangelo's horrendous. Lonzo's good, but not great, and also hurt all the time. And LaMelo actually has a lot of talent, but he's just not
On a crummy team.
he's on a bad team. He's also not consistent. Like there's a lot of flair, but maybe not a lot of substance with him. But having a guy like Knipple and now Brandon Miller, they have three young, interesting players, and I think it's helped LaMelo Ball out a lot. Like him being the guy there wasn't the thing. I think Knipple fits that role, and I think he fits as just one of the really good players. And they have a very interesting team right now. Bridges is solid. Miles Bridges is solid. So
you look at a box score. Yeah, if you look at a box score, you see Knipple always doing something.
Yep. No,
So,
he's legit.
All right, and we'll get into the NBA. Scoop Skolnick's going to join us about 8:45 today. Scoop Skolnick. Of course, the big story would be: are the Heat legitimately in the hunt, and could this happen by Thursday for Giannis Antetokounmpo? The storyline yesterday was that the Milwaukee Bucks are now countering the offers. This is almost like an episode of Shark Tank. Could you do it for 17.5%, Mr. Wonderful? And what about that $10 royalty that you want on every item that we sell, which we're only selling them for $8.95? I guess some of these companies really prosper after being on Shark Tank. There's no doubt
Ring, which every home in my neighborhood has, came from Shark Tank.
They didn't get a deal, though.
No, but that's where he said, screw it. He didn't need them. He would probably been hurt. Like look how
you can't live without it now.
Yeah, look how big they are, and that was without them. They always jack a percentage. That's like what?
Oh, the guy comes in. He says, "I need $300,000 for 10% of my business," and then walks out with 150 for 40%.
Yeah,
I mean, it should just be called Loan Shark Tank.
Yeah,
we were going to do that show.
That's what it is.
Guy comes in. Look, I need $20,000 to pay off my credit cards and another $20,000 to pay off my book. What can you do for me, Mr. Wonderful? Well, I'll tell you what I can do. I'll give you the $40,000, but I want it all back by tomorrow. And if it's not, I'm going to charge you 150% interest on a daily compound. That'd be great. Get in front of a guy on Loan Shark Tank. Anyway, we're straying all over the place. They had the opening night last night for the Super Bowl. Things have changed a little bit. Remember, they used to do that big outdoor thing at the stadium, and it was usually, on the Tuesday or Wednesday before the Super Bowl when they had everybody out there from all teams. I don't know. Did you ever run around in one of those? You might have.
No, because we would be so busy. It's not where we were. So you'd have to leave and go somewhere else. And then you would always say, Lubie, it's not worth it.
Oh, no, it's worthless.
So I never did one. Like we went to like 10 or 11 Radio Rows, and I never did one media day because it was always like, I think it was Tuesday too. Was it always Tuesday? And
I believe it was on the Tuesday, and then they changed it to a Monday night when they came into town, which they had it last night.
We would miss it then because we learned getting there Monday and Tuesday stupid. You just want to get there Tuesday.
I like that type of thing anyway. You know how I feel about press conferences in general. They're all BS.
You get nothing from them.
Yeah. Although I did like annually, I like to go to the Roger Goodell press conference to hear talking about BS, whatever he was spewing. He kind of fluffed over. He looked like Todd Blanche talking about the Epstein files, where they were talking about Steve Tisch being in the Epstein files. No mention of Robert Kraft. Would you have thrown that out there? Hey, while you're on the subject of Steve Tisch, Raj, can you touch on how you felt when Robert Kraft was identified by guys that were staking out a sex trafficking
Yeah,
ring
exactly.
at that Asian spa on Jupiter, and they're sitting in the car, they're having a pastrami sandwich that they just got from some local deli, cup of coffee, like they're in an episode of Mannix,
Yeah,
and they go, "Hey, look at that! Can you believe who's coming out of here?" And it was Kraft,
yeah,
who then flew off to catch the Patriots in a ball game in New England, in Boston. I guess it's Foxborough, but not much was made of that, Louis. Was that like one of the great free passes of all time? Bob Kraft just happened to be coming out of a place that was under investigation for serious sex trafficking charges. And you're asking yourself, what was he doing in there? Did he really just go there? He couldn't have a masseuse come to his house?
exactly. Well, we always say that. There's so many things when this stuff happens. Like these
Who's
guys,
going into these kind of cheap places if you're a billionaire like Robert
I don't
Kraft?
know. Like that's especially in Jupiter. You have to. Jupiter's a nice area. Like you have to go and find it. Jupiter's not like the hood.
In a strip mall, yes.
Yeah, that's like weird. Like, so you want a nice area, but then the grunge area and the nice area. It's like, okay. Like if you're when you're that rich, can't you just make your own little
You would think on your private jet you could have hired anybody or even enticed anybody to go and pleasure you in any way that you saw fit. And especially, I mean, you would figure Kraft probably, if he's going to be discreet about this stuff, has some high end call girl meet him at the airport dressed as a stewardess or a flight attendant. And the rest it takes place right there in the privacy of his own jet. Who's walking out of some Asian spa at a strip mall after getting
I don't know. I would feel weird, and I don't even have money. Like to be that rich and that comfortable was interesting to me. I give him credit. Like that's yeah,
And he looks into his phone there to see what time the plane's taking off. The cops
yeah.
grab the phone, and there he is. He's punching up Jerkmate or something like that. That ever pops up on your phone, you want to immediately dismiss it. Trust me. All right. So, what came out of opening night last night? Not too much. I was thinking about this Quessy. Is that how you say his first name? Adolfo Mensa. Figuring he's nowhere to be seen
Okay.
at the Super Bowl.
It was okay. So they was it football related? Like what? Because it came out. Look, the Vikings. That was a horrible decision on his part. They did spend a lot of money. They have struggled in the draft. They 2 or 3 years ago, they looked like they had this up and coming team that was really talented, and
Last
they
year,
just sort of
yeah, 2 years.
fell off a cliff. Like, so I get that, but is it other teams are because Ross would have kept him for 5 more years.
Yeah.
Like Ross wouldn't have gotten rid of him just because he
They
got
just signed him to a significant extension, like 8 months.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Something out of
is it, their owners are more quick acting. Like I don't understand because like are you or is it like the coach from the Celtics that was fired? Like, is there some impropriety going on? Like, I'm so confused at this whole thing. Like, it was after Black Monday. It was after all the firings. The Vikings still have an interesting young core. Like, what is like? I haven't heard anything else behind it.
There was some kind of paternity suit mentioned. I didn't get this far in the article or the articles because they were sort of they were related, but at the same time, it wasn't all contained in one. The one that I read was dissecting his failures as a general manager with
yeah.
where he was positioned in the draft, the fact that he got nothing out of it for the most part. I guess their first round pick was okay. After that, nothing. But they only had 5 picks. Spent $300 million in free agency, which we said.
Yeah.
And on top of that, makes the bonehead personnel decision. And there was reason and many reasons to take a look at Sam Darnold and say,
Yeah.
this is our guy.
Yeah. Look, we talked about it. They struggled at the end of the year, but they were 14-3, and they were not good before he got there.
Sure. I mean, would you dump Drake May because he's had a couple of lousy games?
Oh, what do you mean? Patriot fans are hailing him. So, and good for them. You should. He is the future of the franchise. Darnold's still young enough where he could be. I mean, Seattle, he is. He's there.
I think he's only 28 years old. Is that possible? 28?
Yeah. Because remember, it happened fast. He came in young. Remember, he was young, left as a junior and was a young junior. And then he became a bust in like 10 minutes, like because it's New York. So if you're not good by year 2, they're like, all right, bust, you're a bust. It's over. You're a bust. And then he became journeyman guy because he kept going to bad franchises like the Panthers. It's not his fault. The Panthers are a mess. Like then the Niners were the thing that supposedly changed him. He went to a good organization with a good coach that helped him. And then the next spot was Minnesota, where he revamped his entire career. Like these the quarterback position is like Tua's going to go to a good team and be good. Like all the people that
You think he rebounds to a Tagovailoa?
the Rams are the team that keep coming up, and it's 100% what's going to happen. Like Stafford's old. People forget Stafford's old as hell. Like Stafford came in not that long after Brady and Manning. Like I was in college. I'm 20 years out of college. I was in college when Stafford was drafted. Like Stafford's old. And he's playing well, so he'll probably get another year. But you should get if you're smart, get your next quarterback up. Tua, with a guy like McVay, with the talent they have, where they have lines and they have defense. People are right. Look, the guy needs to take some time. Look, being a backup would probably be good for him because he needs to clear up all this concussion crap. Like it's not just the health stuff. Even I have to admit, he was making some throws there the last year plus that were not Tua-like. Like the turnover thing is not his thing. And
he seemed to lose whatever arm strength he might have had at one time.
Bingo.
I remember when he hauled off and threw that touchdown pass that won the game for Alabama when he came in for Jalen Hurts.
Had a ton of zip.
And you thought, wow, this kid's got an arm. And then I also thought that he was going to be a much more mobile quarterback, much more efficient, either taking off on running plays or making something happen. Is this now? And let's face it, the opening night is a collection of cliches that is so massive that it makes it absolutely, I mean, the last place you want to be is in this wave of cliches that you're going to hear from virtually every podium that these players, and they have pretty much they don't have every player out there, but do they have like 20 guys from each team? I think they do at various locations. There's usually somebody that does something really stupid, some woman that comes out there naked and starts asking questions in Spanish. What happened to that woman, the woman from the Spanish media?
You don't hear from her, the one that they used to give crap
to. She already done, or she probably just...
I don't know. You never hear from her again.
Yeah, probably retired somewhere in Italy, in Positano, sucking on lemonade and, just counting her blessings. Because she made a name for herself doing this stuff. I don't know, like I said, that you would ever find out anything of any great significance at these press conferences. There was a guy that showed up barefoot. I guess that's his habit. One of the Patriot players, receiver Mac, what is it, Hobart, something like that? I can't read my own writing half the time here. Shows up barefoot for the thing. That was a big exceptional thing. Other than that, nothing. Now, if we'd gone to the Roger Goodell press conference, what didn't come up, obviously, was Steve Tisch. He brushed over that. Well, you know what? We have to look at the facts here and see if it's enough to merit our own investigation. What do you think, Lubie? Tisch going down over the Epstein?
Well, I don't understand. Look, we all wanted. I know we all.
It's like a Clockwork Orange. Your name was mentioned.
Yes, a lot of us wanted the files thrown out there, so we know. Okay, out there, there's still a lot redacted, so they're not really out there. But enough came out that some interesting stuff popped up. Okay, my curiosity is what happens to the he's in there and he's in there, and it seems like for some interesting stuff because again, the files were like thousands of pages, so millions. Millions of pages. So if he just walked by someone at a building, they're in the files. Like it's not that. And again, both sides. It's not.
And a guy could have called in, or somebody could have called in some completely false information, and he'd be in the
files. Believe me, I'm not defending anyone in the files or anything. I think it all should be investigated. What I'm saying is, we're jumping. Oh my God, he's in. Okay, what? So what happens? Like, what do we do with that? Like,
kind of like Raj may be looking into this a little bit at some time in the future. He's put on the spot about it. Nobody, I don't think, brought up the Brian Flores lawsuit, which once again was mentioned, and I don't know where that stands. I mean, what happened to that? He's suing the league. He still became a candidate for head coaching positions. He's a highly respected defensive coordinator at this point. Everybody was in love with what Flores was doing defensively. And yet he still has this open lawsuit. I thought that thing had gone away, Lubie. You don't hear too much about that.
No, you hear nothing.
And that was HBO Real Sports. That was everything. And there was some implication made. I don't know if it was just a connection that was vaguely being put together by somebody who was writing about it, that this Adolfo Mensa firing what was something that would be a convincing and vindicating point for what Flores is talking about in his lawsuit, that there is different treatment for people that are minorities, if you will. I don't even like using that term anymore, but this was applicable. Some of the things that Flores was implying in his lawsuit, his contention that the league is totally biased. You think that's the case, Lubie? All these staunchy old white guys. I don't know that you can make a case out of it every time something happens because there were more than valid reasons to look at this guy's tenure there as general manager and say we better cut it off right now if he's that blind to what's actually going on from a personnel standpoint. But oddly, this came, and you're probably right. There's some other thing at work here because it came shortly after they gave him an extension, like 8 months ago. So that was kind of interesting. Other than that, I don't know, Libby. What question would you have had for anybody if you were running around there on opening night? Would you have wanted to pose a question to anybody or at the Goodell press conference? Anything of any significance that strikes you that you feel is a compelling answer to know coming into the Super Bowl? Because I haven't really. I haven't gained a great feel for this. I just looking at the two teams, the way they're performing right now as they led up to this game. And Patriots, again, caught every break. Were they vulnerable? Could have easily lost to the Denver Broncos in that game to Jared Stidham at quarterback. Conditions became prohibitive. So you would have to say, as we were looking at it in the third quarter, and you're thinking, oh, it's 10-7 now. Guess what? It's going to be 10-7 at the end of the game, which nothing changed there. But did they play a great ball game against the Denver Broncos?
No. It was horrendous. It was a tight
game before. They were lucky. I mean, they won by a significant margin against the Texans, but you couldn't have been handed the game more on a silver platter. And I'm not discrediting what New England has been doing because I thought their defense looked pretty good all year long, and I was very surprised at the acumen that was being displayed by Drake May, which exceeded anything that you would expect from a second-year player whose first year, unfortunately, hovered under the dark cloud of going 4-13 with a coach that apparently I don't know what Bob Kraft was thinking at that time. He certainly wasn't thinking when he was in this Asian spot. You imagine like you're one of his entourage or whatever. What would you call it? Like one of his people that he hangs out with, and he says, "Okay, let's go to the spa." Are you not thinking of saying, "Listen, Bob,
Oh yeah.
I know you got all the money in the world, but is this really a choice that you want to make?"
Oh no, I mean, I definitely be like, why are we going? I would be like, why are we going here? Like, what are we doing?
What would be the
Like,
reason to pick that place?
I'm broke and I go to better places than this. Like, what are you doing?
Between an IHOP and a thrift store.
Yeah,
Some
no,
strip mall off the beaten path there in Jupiter. Pretty incredible. Yeah. So
that was weird.
I don't know how accountable Tish will be. Goodell didn't really get to that. And there wasn't a ton of valuable information coming out of this. Been pretty quiet. There are no controversies of sorts. Libby, would you say that's a fair statement?
No, nothing.
Nothing. Two teams
I don't know anything.
themselves very well. Vrabel, coach of the year. I don't know. Can you give it to somebody else? This McDonald guy didn't do a bad job. He's only in his second year with the Seahawks. So
the Seahawks, the Bears, and the Patriots, like three teams that were expected to be okay, interesting, if not
60-1 shot to win the Super Bowl before the season.
Those three, I could give it to any of those coaches. Look, the Seahawks were interesting last year, and then they brought in Darnold. Maybe they showed signs. The Patriots and the Bears did not. They were total disasters, and they went and got new coaches, and they turned it around in 1 year. So, I mean, again, they don't use the playoffs. Obviously, if the playoffs were involved, it would be Vrabel open and shut, but they don't use that to like make regular season award choices. So I could go either way. I mean, Vrabel makes sense. I mean, they were really bad, and they whatever their schedule was, they won the games, and they had a good record, and they now feel like they have a quarterback, and they feel like they not only have a future, feel like they're going to be around for a while. Bears, who knows? I never know what to do with the Bears. Like they're better, but
the Bears were a miracle, cardiac kids like the Panthers were a few years ago.
They remember like with the Marlins that 1 year where like they won every 1-run game.
Yes,
and it was wonderful. But then like people would say it's hard to do that every year, and then they didn't. So
what happened to the Chiefs? Chiefs won like 12 one-score games last year, 2 years ago, and then this past season, they didn't win any of them. I think.
Bingo. So that's why the Patriots, it makes sense. Vrabel, coach of the year, right? The story, I guess, is May hurt or not. Like they brought that up after the championship game, and then I haven't heard anything about it at all. Like, what is with him? Like, is it just a Patriots move? Like, well, the kid's young. They've never done the Brady thing where he's always on the
I think they still have Brady on the injury list. No,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I don't know. Like that's the one thing I'm curious of because again, he's a strapping kid. Yeah, they didn't throw it around a lot the last game, but with better weather, you think they would try to. If he's injured at all, that definitely could affect what they do.
all right. We're going to talk a lot of hoops coming up in just a few minutes here with Scoop Skolnick. We'll figure out what's going on. I haven't. I have to say, I've watched snippets of NBA basketball, but I haven't really dived totally into it yet. And same thing to an extent with college basketball. Although I did notice that others receiving votes, the Miami Hurricanes, 4 votes altogether.
I mean,
Outside the top 25. Not doing too bad, not doing anything special. Zona number 1, Michigan number 2 with Dusty May, UConn's number 3, Duke number 4. And the magic question would have to be, and it's impossible to conceive as you watch NBA basketball and study at any length, even just a peripheral view of results, how you could possibly have lost a national championship in college ball. Now we've seen that before, where teams had great players on them, and you're looking, going, what was it? Did North Carolina not win when they had Jordan, Never Nervous Purvis, and
they won our title. I
Worthy,
don't think they won
James
every
Worthy,
year.
right? Did they have all those guys?
They won when Jordan was a freshman, but they didn't win. They didn't win like 4 in a row or anything.
Yeah.
They
Pete
lost
Smith.
titles. Ewing didn't win, and Ewing teams were pretty fucking friggin' loaded, and he was Ewing.
How disgusting was that 4 corners offense of Dean Smith?
It was before me time. They woke up by the time I started watching. But no, I mean Carolina had a team with Anton Jamison, Vince Carter, a bunch of guys that were really good in the pros, and they did not win. Like we've seen. I mean, you've seen great teams with guys that went on to be great in the pros, not win. But these guys were good last year. That's what was weird about Duke, is they were good.
Yes.
Got to like what, the 4s or the 8s. Like
both. What was Knipple taken? They had to be in the top 5. No,
top 5. I think they're both top 5. Yeah.
Number 1 overall, top 5, and you can't beat Houston. Unbelievable. All right, a couple of other things. Winter Olympics. Right? We haven't. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. There was already a bust in the Winter Olympics of a biathlete. A female biathlete is doing juice, so she's suspended. I don't know if she's going to be in the Olympics. This is worthy of mention here. Italian biathlete Rebecca Passler tested positive for doping and was provisionally suspended Monday from competing in her hometown at the Milan Cortina Olympics. So imagine that, Lubie. I mean, you know what the biathlon consists of. That's the one where they got a rifle on their back.
Oh,
that's
cross
country ski for like 80 miles. And then they do some target shooting, and then they pack the rifle back up. Oh, look at that. She missed one.
Do they swim? Do they throw swimming in there too?
No, it's just the 2 things.
Okay. Oh, it's
Cross country skiing and shooting.
Okay.
Who came up with that?
I don't understand
How is
what
that not a Norwegian thing, like 100%?
like I don't. Where did that come from? Is that Wyoming? Like where is that?
Yeah, it has to be. It's a European thing from some Arctic.
Okay, okay. So sweet. Like I don't know. I don't know the European, the Alps. Like
How did it become a sport though?
Moves. I'm just kidding.
Like who decided to combine those 2 things? It's one thing to have the discus and the javelin, and maybe you do some high hurdles. But who figured out, okay, let's put these people on skis, have them go an enormous, unhuman amount of ground, trying to ski uphill with these 2 poles, trying to propel them. And then after they're completely exhausted and emaciated and dehydrated, let's put a rifle in their hands and have them start shooting things. What the? My God, Libby. That seems like an oddball sport. It really does. Can you imagine like practicing that all the time? What would you do? I mean, what would you concentrate on, Libby? Well, my shooting's pretty good, but and wouldn't your vision be sort of blurry from just being, especially if the sun's out and that white is reflecting in your face the whole time? How do you deal with that? And then go out there and shoot a couple of bullseyes. So I always look forward to that event, but we're not going to be seeing this woman in all likelihood unless something exceptional happens, because she's juicing on top of that, Libby. I suppose the stamina would be the key thing there. Or was she overdosing on carrot juice, so her vision was good? Not sure. Biathlon already under scrutiny. And the Cats lose last night to the Sabres. Don't sleep. This is my message for you sports fans out there on the day. Don't sleep on the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, they're good. They haven't been good for a long time.
They have sucked forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Hasek.
Last 26 games now, including last night's 5-3 victory over the Florida Panthers. Buffalo Sabres, 21, 4, and 1. 21 out of 25 they've won, and they have the one overtime loss on the ledger as well. So, as they say at the end of the broadcast, well, they picked up a point there, Lou. So, there's some salvation in that. But they blew a 4-goal lead in the final 2 minutes. Tough night here. No, the Sabres 5-3 last night over the Panthers. I think they rallied. Panthers might have even been up 2-0 in that game. Is that possible? It was sort of a half blur when I was watching highlights on SportsCenter. But you cannot sleep on the Buffalo Sabres right now. We gave out the Minnesota Wild earlier in the year. That was my friend Mike Jones. He likes the Minnesota Wild. I don't know, Lubie. Do you have any clue who's going to win the Stanley Cup? I'm assuming, and maybe this is an unfair assumption, because we've seen teams do this that have been accomplished, and then they go through a season and it looks sort of lackluster. But clearly, you would have to attribute some of that to missing their best player. Old Sasha Barkov might be coming back sooner than later. And of course, Matt Tkachuk was out most of the year. Has he done anything since his return?
Is he back? I know he played that one game, but is he playing every game? Like, I haven't heard anything of him at all. And Marchand, who saved their ass early in the year, has been in and out. He's an older guy, so he
Yes.
has nagging stuff. Like, it sucks. Those are really the three best players. So, and then the other guys haven't picked up the slack. All the guys that they give all that money to, you really haven't heard anything from them. So, yeah, I don't know. It's annoying because all the people said expect them to miss the playoffs. I'm like, they're gonna make the playoffs. We'll see what happens. I don't. Now it's
Would they not be dangerous if they had these guys back?
Yeah. No, if they, I mean, they went to 3 Stanley Cups. If they had these guys, it wouldn't be 9. They wouldn't be 9 points out of the playoffs. They'd be fighting for a top 3 or 4 spot. I mean, you miss your 2 best players and arguably miss a lot of time from your 3 best players. What team can withhold that? I mean, it's just annoying because they have enough talent that you thought they could at least be in the playoff contention until they come back, but there's only so much you can do, I guess. They've hit a wall the last couple months, and it's not great.
Just hasn't seemed to be a very inspiring season so far. You're waiting, just hoping that somehow they get it together at the end, almost needing the magic wand theory of Mike Lubie, where you wave a magic wand over the team at the end of the year, and all of a sudden they're good. And it worked a couple of times for you with your Miami Heat.
With the Heat,
There some so-so seasons. All right, we're going to answer the question, will Giannis Antetokounmpo be wearing a Heat uniform? And is there a better source to go to for this kind of information? I'm sure Barry Jackson was digging at the Heat Gala last night. He used to love circulating around and just kind of hovering around a table and then going, Shaq, do you have a minute to answer a question? And Shaq would mumble something, and Barry would write it down. Says Shaq is demanding a trade. No, he wasn't. It wasn't like that, right? Shaq wanted to swap out the shrimp for the portobello mushrooms as an appetizer, and it would come out in the press that Shaq demands a trade. We will be back. Scoop Skolnick, Ethan Scoop Skolnick. He has his 5 Reasons Sports Network. Of course, longtime veteran newspaper guy here. Worked for all 3 of what would be considered local papers. Local paper, are we ready to put in the autopsy there for the Sun Sentinel Sports section, Lubie? I received one yesterday in error.
Okay,
so I don't know if the cold was holding up shipment or whatever, delivery of the New York Post, but didn't come a couple of days in a row, so I had to call for a redelivery. Usually that never happens, and both times I did get a paper delivered, but yesterday it was the Sun Sentinel by mistake, because the person that delivers the Post also delivers, I think, like the Wall Street Journal and the Sun Sentinel. All right, so and they're like, my neighbor actually gets the Post every day. Can you believe it? My man Rory, next door to me from New York. It's the New York Post. So we're the only 2 people, I think, anywhere within an 80-mile radius that are getting newspapers delivered. And you're hoping that the guy doesn't miss you. So he delivers whoever it is. I don't even know. I've never met this delivery person. Delivers a Sun Sentinel to my door. So I thought, okay, this was a sports section that I really used to enjoy, Libby. Did you not think that the Sun Sentinel had one of the better sports sections? Well, you weren't that familiar with other papers, but having been in many, many cities, you would have to say the Sun Sentinel and the Miami Herald at one time were sort of with some of the better newspapers in the country. As far
they were elite papers. I mean, my whole life growing up, the writing staff maybe wasn't the Boston Globe of the 70s or whatever, but the writing staffs were really good. I mean, The Sun Sentinel and the Herald both
had good sports sections.
papers around the country. I mean,
Yeah.
they were really good.
Wow. I mean, it's not only uninspiring because they have very few local writers, but even though did they cut back on the layout people there? It really doesn't look any better than the old Hollywood Sun Tatler did. I don't know if you guys were familiar with that particular publication, but now it's escaping me the guy's name. He was like a rather overweight guy that really was the prototypical scribe, where he always had like a mustard stain on his shirt, and he was the editor of the Hollywood Sun Tatler, sports editor, which had maybe 2 or 3 writers. I mean, there might have been some people that actually went on to success that launched their careers there. Because let's face it, you got to latch on somewhere. And the weird thing about this guy was, you're thinking, how much money could he be getting paid to be the sports editor of what was essentially a bit of a rag of a newspaper, by comparison, certainly to the Herald and the Sun Sentinel and even the Palm Beach Post. And he drove like a very pricey Corvette to all of these sporting events. I don't know. You think he had money from his family, or he certainly couldn't have been making it as a sports editor of this paper? What could that have paid? Like $35,000 a year back then?
Management always finds a way to take care of themselves, I've learned.
I feel awful that I'm blanking on this guy's name. I wonder if you could Google that somehow. Former sports editor of Sun Sentinel. Sun Tatler, Hollywood Sun Tatler. You think that's significant enough to be in the Google
Probably
archive of information?
No, look at him.
I will figure it out. All right, Scoop Skolnick going to join us here in just a sec. Back with Scoop in a moment. Now that
the time,
he would know. It's 8:45.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe Bees.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
If my point was ever going to be embellished and going to be proven true, the world has gotten a sugar nut.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We get some video Scoop coming here. Of course, it came to me as soon as I was thinking, Scoop probably knows this guy. Did you ever write or receive a copy of or read the Hollywood Sun Tatler? Was that in your lifetime?
No, I've worked for everybody, Defo, but not that.
Ed Playstead was the name of the guy. I don't know. Did you ever encounter Ed Playstead? He was the sports editor of the Sun
He
Tatler.
sounds like he would be the editor of the Hollywood Sun Tatler. They like that.
And it was one of those things, I don't know if they had any kind of professional printing being done, because the paper sometimes looked like a ransom note, the way that it was constituted.
I think all newspapers these days look like ransom notes.
Oh, my God.
It's a ransom note for $17.95.
It's crazy. I got a Sun Sentinel by mistake yesterday
Yeah,
instead of my New York Post. And I'm thinking, all right, let me take a look at Dave Hyde's still there. Winterman's still there.
That's it.
David Furonis is a good guy.
David, yes, David's there.
But wow, it was sad when I first had my first newspaper job at the Fontana Herald News. Our sports section was more comprehensive than this, and we only had 2 pages and one guy doing the whole section.
Defo, we used to have at the Sentinel, when I first got there, we were 24 pages on Sunday.
It was amazing, yeah. Great.
Actually, the Palm Beach Post, which was considered the third paper in town.
Yes.
When I was there the first time around, 96 to 2000, we had 22 full-time sports writers.
Wow.
We would travel 4 to Dolphin games.
Wow.
And, on that staff, over the period of time I was there, some of the other writers that were there with me were Israel Gutierrez, Joe Shad, Jeff Darlington,
wow,
Todd Archer, Dan Graziano. Pretty much
These guys all made it big.
All national. They're all
Yeah.
like,
And I'm here with you on a
And you.
Tuesday
But
morning.
you have your own thing. See, they don't have.
Well, that's true.
They don't have what you have. They could get that letter from ESPN tomorrow that says we're
Right.
going in another direction. You are
I'm
saying
gonna have to send myself a letter, Defo.
yes.
Sending myself a letter.
That day,
We're going another direction. That's what we're doing.
I want that on my tombstone.
That's we're going another direction.
Here lies the forest. We're going in another direction, which unfortunately is underground. All right. Speaking of underground, I don't know if this is underground information or what you have accumulated on this front. But of course, Lubie, I mean, he's foaming at the mouth here.
Apoplectic is.
Because-
I mean, we've been waiting for this for like 25 years. It feels like.
Yes.
The Heat have been waiting for this for like 7 years. Pre-Butler, I feel like.
The minute I said that Giannis Antetokounmpo would only be wearing a Heat uniform in a fit of senility by Pat Riley at 96, when he came in as no more valuable than Chuck Nevitt at the end of the bench, and he finally signed his last year with the Heat. And of course, the next day, the headlines are screaming.
Yes.
Giannis to the Heat. So what do we know about this scoop?
Well, what we know is that first thing there's that's my alarm. That's what we know. That's my Giannis alarm. What we know to start with is that Milwaukee is obviously gonna leverage this as much as they can over the next couple of days. So there's a couple different ways this could go, and I feel a lot of different ways. And I had Sam Amick on from the Athletic.
Oh, wow, scoop at a moment of truth there.
No, he's here.
Wow.
I'll bring him back.
All right. We'll grab him back up here, people. I had. There
Oh,
you are. We lost you for a sec.
Oh, okay, there we go. So basically, in talking to Sam Amick yesterday and to others and others I've talked to around the league, the Bucks don't have to do this right now. They don't have to. I mean, they have a certain amount of leverage. They can just keep Giannis on the roster until the end of the season. Now, there's some questions about, and that would make some sense for them because there will be more teams that can make a legitimate pitch after the season. And even the Heat will have more picks that they can unlock, but there'll be other teams that will be involved, and perhaps some of those teams will be the West Powers that don't seem inclined to make this move right now because they like what they have. So OKC, Denver, particularly Houston, San Antonio were two that have been mentioned. Those teams have not jumped into this, as far as we know, in part because they want to keep their cores intact. I mean, OKC could trade all the picks if they wanted to, and if Giannis wanted to go there. So, like, if one of those teams falls apart, or two or three of those teams fall apart in the playoffs, then Milwaukee could have a greater pool of suitors for Giannis, and a lot of those teams have a lot more picks, particularly San Antonio and OKC. Now, the benefit to Milwaukee getting this deal done now is, A, they would likely get at least one pick in the upcoming draft, which is a draft. Okay. So, and you get the player sooner, right? So that's one advantage. This is the second advantage for them is that they don't have to deal with a malcontent for the rest of the year who's on a different wavelength than them. Giannis wants to play once he's healthy. The Bucks want to tank. Yeah. This is going to be the first time ever that that's going to happen. Like where usually it's the player who doesn't want to, I'm walking like Jimmy last year. I'm walking out. This player is going to be forcing himself on the court. Yeah. And the Bucks don't want that because he's good. So that creates another dilemma for them. So I think both of those things play into this. And the other thing is that they kind of do want to do right by Giannis because he did win their only championship. They don't want this to be a total fiasco. And if he really pushes behind the scenes, I really trade me now. Okay. That's what has to happen. Trade me now. Okay. These options are acceptable. We know New York is acceptable to him. Miami is acceptable to him. And he has a certain amount of power here too, because he can say, I'm not going to sign an extension with this team. So there's a lot of talk about, for instance, Portland, okay, which does have assets that would interest Milwaukee. Basically, because of the Dame trade, they could give Milwaukee their picks back. And they would have enough there. And Dame and Drew are still there, who's Giannis is close with. But I don't think Giannis is going to sign an extension there. So he could say, look, I'm not going to sign an extension. And then that takes Portland off the table. So he has a certain amount of power. I'm not saying he can direct exactly where he wants to go, but he can push it. So that's why I'm wishy-washy on this, only because both parties kind of have something to gain by him being traded by Thursday, particularly Giannis. And the other part of this for Giannis is not only does he want to get to somewhere else, but also he can sign his Supermax sooner. if he is traded by Thursday. He can sign it with his new team immediately. And he can't do that if he's got to wait. So my lean is that he's traded by Thursday, but it's not a strong lean. And it's like 55%, and it's if he pushes behind the scenes and indicates he's going to make it uncomfortable by saying, I'm going to play the rest of this year, and you don't want me to play. And so if that happens, I believe Miami has the best shot. It does not mean they have the only shot.
My heartbeat still Scoop.
Well, but Jeff, I wouldn't put their shot at over 50%, even if he is traded. There's a lot of teams in the mix. I just think they have, of those teams, they have the best combination of what Giannis could want, which is no state tax, good weather, organization that's won, all things he's talked about. Plus, there is a relationship with Bam. I don't think they're as tight as people make it out to be, but just because they have the same agent, lots of players have the same agent. But there is a chance for him to win in Miami, and they're in the East. Okay, so he stays in the East. So all of those things I think are in Miami's favor. In addition to the fact that I think they have just enough for Milwaukee to justify the trade. Some of these teams, like Amick, doesn't think they do. By the way, I think they do. I think it's close, but they at least have a combination of picks and young players. So if you're an organization like Milwaukee that has been the worst drafting organization in the league for the past 12 years, they haven't drafted anybody good since Giannis. Okay. Wow. They don't have a single player they drafted in the first round who's contributing to the current roster. Okay. So in that sense, the Heat do draft well. And so essentially Adam Simon has done their drafting for them. Okay, where he could trade them, they could trade Ware, who's whatever the issues are with Spo.
He is talented. Get his talent. Spo just hates him.
Right. It's talented. He's better than the 15th pick of that draft. He could trade Jaquez, who was better than his draft position.
He's playing really well.
He could trade Hero. I know there are issues there, but he's also better than his draft position. Okay, and he could also trade him Kasparis, who I believe will be better than his draft position, and plus 2 picks plus swaps. I mean, it's not the Godfather offer in any sense, but it's a whole lot. Jeff just disappeared, by the way. Was Jeff traded? I don't know.
I'm going into hiding until this comes through. I'm going to sit on top of a billboard somewhere with a Miami Heat logo underneath it and say, "We want Giannis. Let's make this happen."
That's what should be done. Isn't that what Levitar did with LeBron? But so in other words, there's a combination of things that the Heat can offer that appeal to Giannis and appeal to the Bucks, and they might be able to kind of split the difference here. Now, doesn't mean these other teams don't have a shot. I hate the Golden State offer, but if Milwaukee just wants picks, even though those picks are not going to be as good as they think, because I don't think that Golden State's ever going to bottom out, okay, particularly if they have Giannis, okay, even if Curry retires, then that's one option. The other option is Minnesota. Minnesota has a star for him to play with. It's in the Midwest, which I thought he didn't want to be there anymore, but apparently he's given his blessing to it. And so that's an option. And Minnesota has pieces. They have players, Jaden McDaniels, others. They don't have picks. And then there's the Knicks, who I don't think anybody's taking seriously anymore because they had a negotiating window of the summer and they couldn't pull it off. And they don't have they don't have picks because they gave them all up for Mikal Bridges. If they don't make the Mikal Bridges trade, Giannis would have been a Knick before this season. Wow. Okay, but they did. So there's also the dark horses, Portland. I've heard Orlando. I've heard Atlanta. So I can't give Miami a 50. I think it's about 55% chance he's traded by Thursday. Then split the 55% of that. I can't put Miami at.
Now we lost the connection here with Scoop. Right as he was coming to a conclusion here about where Miami ranked in terms of percentages. Although Lubie, you would have to say you were ranking when we lost you there. You were ranking Miami's chances percentage-wise with a really, sharp mathematical permutation formula there. That sounded like you were calculating a new stat in baseball. So where did you leave the chances at? But for and Lubie,
I would say there's a 55. I would say there's a 55% chance he's traded by Thursday, and of that, I would give Miami maybe I put them in the leadership with about a 35% chance of getting it done.
All right.
Okay.
What do
So,
you
I
got? What do
mean,
you got?
again,
Oh,
I
he
wouldn't be
answered.
planning the parade, but I think they've got a shot. That's the way that
All
I've
right.
put it.
I think. I mean, he answered pretty much anything I would ask, except for I see. That's what I thought was different this time is that Giannis has said, "Look, I want to be traded." Like I thought he has done that. Like he hasn't. Like you know.
No, he has. He has in this subtle way where he doesn't want to be the villain. But again, is he going to go the next step where it's like, okay, trade me, goddamn it, and I don't know that he's going to get there now. If he does and says, look, there's only two teams I'm going to sign an extension with. Okay, it's Miami and it's New York. If that's the case, if he says that, Miami gets him. Because I don't see, because then Milwaukee is going to negotiate with New York again and be like, well, you don't have anything different than you had before. You don't have any picks. We don't want Karl Anthony Towns. We don't want to reroute Karl Anthony Towns. You're not going to give us Anunoby most likely, and we don't want Bridges. So
Willis Reed, I think.
Right. So Willis Reed, right, exactly, and Dave DeBusschere. So look, they're not gonna that trade. I don't see him going to the Knicks, even though I do think that's Giannis's preference.
Yeah.
As long as he's okay with Miami, which I know he is, then if he says that, then that's fine. If he says, "Look, I'll go anywhere and sign an extension," that hurts the Heat. In that case, I don't. Then it's sort of taken out of their hands, and it's kind of in the Bucks' hands on whether they like their package. And I think the big issue in the package, and I hate to say it, is Tyler, because this whole idea of him being a Milwaukee guy is totally overstated. They don't care about that. The question is he going to play? Okay, because he doesn't play anymore. But the other thing is he's due that extension, and you have to, like Sam said on the pod with me, he's like, you have to love Tyler. Like, if you love Tyler, then yeah, you can sell this as an all-star, yes, from our area, who's a very skilled offensive player. He's still 20. He's 26. Okay. He's not an old player. He's sort of entering his prime, but his prime has shown he's fragile. So that's the thing. If they like or really like Tyler, then there's a shot here. If they're looking at Tyler as a bad contract who they're not going to extend and they're going to unload him after next season, then it's tougher to make that deal. Then they have to really love Ware. And I don't, the hard part about Ware is that Spo has devalued his own assets.
They're not helping at all. Like I don't. And look at the numbers. He'll play 3 minutes and have 10 and 8. It's like he played 3 minutes, Spo. Like give him 10 at least.
What is he? What gets under his skin about this guy, Scoop?
It's weird to me. And look, I know it's not just Spo. Okay, it's the staff. The staff is frustrated with Ware. I know that. It's I know at least a couple of assistants.
Thinking not subscribing fully to Heat culture? Is that the issue?
The thing about him is he's not Whiteside. Like, I haven't interacted with Khalil as much as I interacted with Hassan, but like Hassan was selfish and kind of distance from reality. Okay,
he was watching cartoons when he was supposed to be watching game films. Supposedly.
And fish, right? and look, and Hassan used to talk about. The thing Spo used to say to me about Hassan was he's really good at he says he'll work, he just won't work with. He says he'll work, he'll go to the training, he'll pump iron, all the rest of the stuff, but he doesn't work with. He never had an assistant. Khalil's not like that. Khalil is very well liked by his teammates. He's a nice kid. He's a thoughtful kid. He doesn't say a lot, but I mean, he went with the monks, and I know I already talked about Wemby, but he went like overseas. He seems to be a fairly well-rounded person. I think he likes basketball. I think. I don't know. He drifts. It's like they have to hammer this up, and it's not like he's incapable of it. We see pockets of it where he's like, okay, he's setting the screen the way he wants him to set the screen. He's boxing out the way he wants him to box out. So I understand Spo's frustration. Again, it's not just Spo, by the way. It's not just Spo. Okay, but I get it. But what I don't understand is they've treated this guy different than everybody else on the roster. Literally, I love Nico. Love Nico. Great person. Was happy to give him the extension. Okay, it looks like a total bust right now. Nico, he's constantly making excuses for Jovic. Yes. He's never criticized Tyler's defense once. Not once. Bam, he's never criticized his offense once. It's always, I got to do a better job. With Khalil, it's like, well, you see why I'm not playing him. I mean, it's just very weird because he's taken this approach that is totally different. And this is the guy who has to be the centerpiece of a trade And I can't imagine this is the entire organization is on board with this, because if you're Milwaukee, you're like, this is the best coach in the world, supposedly,
Yes.
right? And the best organization, other than maybe the Spurs, in terms of developing their guys. And like, they're frustrated as hell with that guy. We're not any good. We have Doc Rivers as a coach. How are they going to develop? How are we going to develop this guy if they can't? It's a weird deal right now.
Don't summarily dismiss the idea of the Knicks including Willis Reed and Dave DeBusschere because of the NBA's penchant for seeking contracts of deceased players so that
Yes.
they can, accommodate salary cap restraints and things of that nature. Scoop, always a pleasure. I wish we had more time. I know James Harden supposedly is going to get traded.
Again.
So there's a big name on the trading block before the deadline.
Defo for his fourth request since 2020.
Yeah, you know what?
He's requested trades from 4 teams since 2020. Since Dwayne has been retired. James Harden has requested 4 trades.
And yet he's still playing. I mean, he's producing. He's averaging like 25 a game, 8 assists. So it's not like he's a total stiff.
And they're 17-4 in their last 21.
Yeah. Did they start out 6-21, something like that? The Clippers. Yeah. So. Kind of a weird thing. All right. Do you anticipate a lot of activity? Just one final thing, or
you know what's crazy about this? Again, this go either way. If Giannis is traded by Wednesday night, Thursday is going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a free for all. Okay. Wow. I think the Giannis trade again. I think Milwaukee's going to take a couple days, but typically the huge trades are made Wednesday, not Thursday. That's what's happened in recent years. Tuesday or Wednesday. And then other teams can start to do their business. If that domino does not fall until Thursday, I think a lot of teams are going to be sitting there and then maybe try to pull the trigger with an hour left. Like we saw a couple of years ago. Remember the Heat were trying to get Lowry at the deadline. They didn't get him. They got him in the summer. But they got Oladipo with 9 minutes left before the deadline. I think there will be teams that have other trades in their pocket. And they may try to make them late. If Giannis is traded Wednesday, though, then all these other teams they're gonna be like, okay, we got to do something, and we're gonna and they're all working on things, and I think there'll be a lot of moves made. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a bunch of smaller deals, and then that's pretty much it. So we'll see. I mean, I think Ja's gonna get traded.
I was gonna say, I know he's a head case and a mess, but I don't know, man. I feel like he would be really interesting with like Powell and Bam.
I think they could pivot. They're not against it, but they're not going to give up anything that's going to. Now, if Giannis is traded on Tuesday and Miami doesn't have another player in their sight, let's say Giannis is traded to Minnesota, okay, to play with Ant. Well, that takes 2 guys out of the equation for the Heat, right?
Yeah.
So if that happens, then I could see them pivoting to Ja.
All right.
That's
fun.
kind of.
5 Reasons is where you find all this stuff. I don't know that anybody's more thorough in this. I mean, with apologies to Winderman, you guys are 1 and 1A in Heat information, but Winderman's writing for to the wind now. I mean, there's nothing in that Sun Sentinel sports section. It was heartbreaking for me to open that up yesterday, Scoop, having been a big admirer of your work and many others.
It's
that
tough,
we've gotten over the years.
My daughter has asked me, like, what is this about a newspaper?
Oh, no.
What's going to happen eventually is all the kids now are going to be like, wait, you can actually print stuff out that's on the internet and read it? That's a better way to do this. Well, she's into vinyl records too, though. So it's like, cool. They all pivot back. So.
All right, always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
As often as we can do this, we always enjoy it. So thanks so much for being with us, Ethan Skolnick.
In the next couple of days, that's my thing is, look, if you miss out on this can't be like years past. Like you can't miss out because the drama has been waiting there.
Well, what did it sound like to you? I mean, the way Scoop put it.
The way I'm reading things is, I think the Bucks are just going to be greedy and not do anything. Because they will get the most.
That inspiring to me, all of these players they would get from the Heat.
They'll get the most in the offseason. The Heat will give them 4 picks if they wait to the offseason.
It sounds like the Kareem trade when the Bucks, who were involved in that, of course, got Junior Bridgman, Brian Winters, and Dave Myers from the LA Lakers. For Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now. Brian Winters wasn't a terrible player. Junior Bridgman was okay. Dave Myers was a big-time bust. Ann Myers' sister was a far better ball player in terms of productivity as a Was there any pro women's basketball back then when Ann Myers was around? No, right? WNBA came along a long time after that. Did Ann Myers? We'll have to check her out because she was good, man.
I mean,
Dave Myers coming out of UCLA looked like he was going to be great. I think he might have been the number 2 overall pick or something like that. But those were the 3, and I think that was a better accruement. What would it be? Accruing of talent by the Bucks than this would be.
Yeah,
because if Ware can't get it together with Miami, I mean, like that was an interesting illustration. Spo always defends these guys, no matter how horrendous.
Yes, the Ware thing is
really the game.
Because the kid has more talent than a lot of these guys. Like,
and then it comes to Ware, he's like, "Well, you see it. Oh, look at this guy. He's garbage."
When he plays, he looks really good. They call him Mini Wemby, and
I thought he was going to be a real good player. I really did. All right, we got to run.
Yeah, we got to go.
Okay, all right. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much. And for Scoop Skolnick, always a pleasure having him on the show. And Mike Lubie Lewitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:09.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.